Today's book we're going to review is Designing and Building Space Colonies, a Blueprint for the Future. One of the greatest adventures in the future of humanity will be to construct, work, and live in space-based structures. In this book, we look at the history of ideas for living in space, proposed space colony designs, and technology. The details of current life support technology on the International Space Station is reviewed, and what technologies will be required for development of large-scale space colonies. Chapter: The History of Space Habitats. The Brick Moon, written in 1869, is presented as a journal. It describes the construction and launch into orbit of a sphere 200 feet in diameter built of bricks. The device is intended as a navigational aid, but is accidentally launched with people aboard. They survive, and so the story provides the first known fictional description of a space station. The modern history of space habitat discussions goes back to the 1970s when Gerard Oneil published his forward-thinking book, The High Frontier. Gerard Oneil. In the early 1970s, America had proved its leadership in human spaceflight, but among the nation's youth, an anti-technology mindset was growing. Princeton physicist and professor Dr. Gerard K. Oneil, inventor of the revolutionary colliding beam storage ring technology that is now the basis of all high-energy particle accelerators, asked his students if they could come up with a working space colony system to permanently and happily house tens of thousands of regular people. They dug into the challenge. Soon his small band of students grew to scores of researchers, both young and old, all united in the big dream of letting real people have a real choice in their futures. In 1974, Dr. Oneil put his three-pronged plan of space colonization, space solar power, and large-scale space construction into an easily accessible form with the release of the book, The High Frontier. 14 years later, the Space Studies Institute, founded by Oneil, re-released the original text, unchanged except for the doctor's edition of the Appendix A view from 1988. And below we have a picture of The High Frontier, Human Colonies in Space by Gerard Oneil. In 1977, another great collection of thinking and proposals on space colonies was edited by Stuart Brand. This book is a compilation of studies and articles on space habitats. And below that we see the cover of Space Colonies, edited by Stuart Brand. Finally, what most space aficionados think is the best historical book on space colonization is Colonies in Space by T.A. Heppenheimer, 1977. Below this we see a picture of the cover, which is Colonies in Space, and a beautiful picture of the inside of a space colony. The chapters in this book include the following. Chapter 1, Other Life in Space. Chapter 2, Our Life in Space. Chapter 3, Power from Space. Chapter 4, Hope for the Future. Chapter 5, First of the Great Ships. Chapter 6, The Moon Miners. Chapter 7, Construction Shack. Chapter 8, The Highest Home. Chapter 9, Up on the Farm. Chapter 10, Ventura Highway Revisited. Chapter 11, What's to Do on Saturday Night. Chapter 12, The Shell of the Taurus. Chapter 13, University in Space. Chapter 14, The Next Million Years. Chapter 15, Ring Around the Sun. Chapter 16, Colonizing the Stars. You can find all these books on my website at mkettingtonbooks.com in the Living in Space category.